Minimally invasive surgery completely annihilated the brand new market for external biliary lithotripsy as a treatment for gallstones. In the late 20th century, medical care operated completely on paper. Now I see the EMR as a problem. The problem is lost opportunity. Physicians, who can aptly be seen as the CPUs of this medical care computer because they analyze data for diagnosis and treatment, will be displaced from that central role. Meanwhile, venture capitalists have many choices with good potential for adequate return.
We know there's more acceptance. We know a lot of that acceptance over the past 2 years has been driven by necessity because we couldn't meet face to face. Basically, we realized digital health ain't so bad. The data streams that we're using already exist to assess and evaluate a variety of different disease states or conditions. We have developed and are about to launch an augmented reality, voice-driven virtual caregiving system that can be put into a patient's home and provides them with the capacity to manage their care remotely. And so to me, with all of the digital revolution that is occurring, with the acceleration because of COVID, with the innovative technology that is being developed by electronic caregivers, we are moving to a place where every single person can receive the care that they need. And that's where we really get into what I believe is precision remote medicine and moving care outside of the traditional walls of the clinic.
And where we seem to be running into difficulty is the more we are trying to use digital data, the more pushback we get from some of the ethical and IRB committees that are reviewing our studies with the potential objections, how can we assure patient security? And there is this fear that all the data that is being collected by big pharma, and I use it in quotation, will somehow be misused or misdirected.
One of the problems comes in with big data is how are we going to know the objective data, the vital signs and things like that, the labs, that all makes sense. But as we're continuing to try to expand this, and particularly using analysis of big data by digging down to see if we can extrapolate who is at risk at different levels, the problem comes in is that subjective component. Has that been thought of? Because machine learning will just get limited by even the language difficulties that can be placed in certain medical records.
Your system has a self-learning mechanism. Say, for example, like chess players, like various chess players have, but they cannot beat the chess machine.
Was that in healthcare in particular, while we're working to knock over silos, there's still a lot of impediments to that acceleration of adoption, whether it's the review process of IRBs, whether it's data definitions that are different, whether it's each doctor or each practice being different in terms of how they do things.
So we're going to get to the point where, our genetic makeup is going to be, cheap and available. We're going to have longitudinal information about, for example, how a predisposing mutation to whatever disease changes over time, in addition with also choices that we make on a daily basis.
It's impossible for a clinician to keep pace with the published medical literature. Watson reads the literature, the medical literature, and reads the patient data. And based on these two information, IBM Watson suggests a treatment for the patient and a follow-up prognosis for the patient. So all patients with cancer should have the opportunity to have their oncologist exposed to the best possible treatment for that patient. Right now, Corina is fundraising to kickstart in the USA. So what we are trying to do now is to change the paradigm of that, how patients receive the suggestion of treatment.
Is what will this do to education and the quality of physician? IBM Watson takes away the intellectual need to think about the patient. How do you feel about practicing in a world where decisions are going to be made by computers, how to treat your patient?
But I think it's a little bit concerning, but at the same time, pretty exciting.
Technology is the reality of our world. And the truth is, you can get a better physical exam with a CAT scan than you can with your hand.
The concern comes as we approach and then try to cross the machine-driven diagnostic threshold.
Let's face it, medicine is changing, and I think It's remarkable what they have accomplished there.
Globally, we have a shortage of healthcare professionals. We're on the precipice of having that in the United States as well.
If you look 10 years ahead, where will Watson be? There will be the AI itself will have improved by leaps and bounds. The point of HealthQuake is there might be that tremor. If it might happen, what could we be doing today to ameliorate whatever ill effects it will have? If you take the doctor out of the healthcare equation, that is an enormous shock.
Some of the issues that we're wrestling with today may completely disappear with another 1 or 2 generations.
That we're entering a new world driven by neurotechnology, and this is going to have a big impact. I would call it revolutionary impact in science, in medicine, and also in society. So within our skull, we have the equivalent of 3 internets running, and we're powering this with a power supply of about 20 watts. We're breaking into the brain. We finally have a good handle using neurotechnology that enables us to decode and manipulate neural circuits with great precision. So this opens the possibility, using neurotechnology, of not just to diagnose these diseases and understand the pathophysiology, but to go in and cure them. 20 years from now, this conversation that we're having is going to happen without us opening our mouths. It's all going to be brain interfaces, non-invasive brain-computer interfaces that will decode our thought process, just like I showed you we can do already with mice, and connect us to the net and enable us to bring up information, just like we do now with computers and Google Think. Well, imagine like a mental type of Google search, your brain. So we're in for a major shift in our society, for human enhancement, cognitive and mental enhancement of the human species.
So our lab also uses a printing approach to build culture systems or bioreactors for cell populations. So we did use a printing approach here to try to engineer cartilage scaffolds. The treatment of breast cancer often involves mastectomy. I was interested in using bioprinting to print a nipple areolar complex that could be used to help treat women after complete mastectomy. Treatment of companion animals is also a big area for growth. You can do a lot of work in companion dogs, companion cats, even horses. But why can't we build something that has structure or function that doesn't exist, but provides some new attribute to the body?
What if we could actually stall the process of aging from happening? Or if we could reverse it to a much younger state? Potentially, we could actually attack all of these diseases together. Inject into that cell a cocktail of mRNAs and make a younger version of that cell. Does it really work? Yes, it does, in 4 different cell types.
We're talking about the end of humanity and the beginning of some new species.
So it is very important to have all over the world that every person could live a healthy life until his or her last moment. That's a recommendation of George Hara to the Japanese government and to the world. Market reality is the issue. It is not easy for the entrepreneur to raise a fund. We are trying to have all of the people in the world to live their healthy life through the end of their life, but at the same time, to make the earth healthy. That's a direction what we are trying to do.
The shareholder capitalism in a way is an illusion by erasing the public sector. The Basque country, the north of Spain, they have the largest cooperatives in the world, Mondragon, that has over 40,000 employees. The employees are the shareholders.
I'm Greg Arnold, professor in the Department of Surgery. We've adapted them to helmets for traumatic brain injury. We're interested in seeing how this helmet interacts with the head, not what the helmet sees. Growth of neurons and spirals, really, really hard to do.
Well, this powdered lab, we can make any material that nature can make, but a whole lot of materials that nature can't.
We wanted to deep brain stimulation to use biological specimens. So we've been mapping out lung cancer and breast cancer, the difference atomically between this breast cancer tumor that's radiation resistant and this one that's not. Sally will look through, she can go through and be able to analyze something, focus in on it, and get the basic spectrum of something as it goes through. So she's able to map out individual viruses and look at mutations between different influenza. So we developed from her knowledge here, and essentially years of work, to a system where we automated, shrunk it down, made it very powerful but very specific for pathogen detection. And that's the next thing. What you do with this is that you take a sample, throat or nose, put it in a system, and then push it out. This is research now, so it gives you the spectrum. So in here, we train with deep learning, AI. It learns to be able to predict very, very quickly. So it can come up with an answer within as little as 1 minute.